So, oh, recording is in progress. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. This is Bob Turner. Many of you know me as part of the sales team over at Acumatica, at Clients First Business Solutions, excuse me. One of our goals as being your partner is to continue to add value by bringing attention, any tools out there that might bring some value to you folks. I know Acumatica comes with a lot of standard reports, which are great, but many of you are more sophisticated in that and like to extend it out. So we've worked with Velixo in the past and have been very happy. And one of our senior consultants, Gene's going to give you a quick word about it. But we thought it would be great that if Duffy could join us and give us a presentation of Velixo and the benefits of adding them to your Acumatica solution. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Jean McClellan real quickly. Many of you may know her as well. And then we'll give the balance of the time over to Duffy. Go ahead, Jean.
Okay. All right. Again, Jean McClellan, and I'm one of the senior functional people here. And I've been using Velixo for 5 years now or so. It's been so... It's just a great tool that extends the reporting abilities into Excel, which Duffy will explain wonderfully. I have done reports for our clients that have been anything from AR to AP to purchases to projects to anything that you can download into Excel and make into a GI you can access through Velixo. So the flexibility and the reporting abilities are very strong, and we just love it. And I don't know what else to say about it. So I'll just turn it over to Duffy.
Perfect. Thank you for the warm introduction. Nice to meet everyone on the call today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we can get started. Bob, I think I need you to not share the screen. Oh. I think we are good now. All right.
Get to it.
All right. Perfect. All right. So just going to share my screen momentarily. Wanted to first off by thanking the Client First Business Solutions team for, giving us the opportunity to number one, showcase Velixo today to all of you. And, really at the forefront, what Velixo is we connect with Acumatica's database and we bring all the data to life into your most favorite software. Well, most controllers and accountant software of choice, which is Excel. So for today, I'm going to walk through, a PowerPoint slide for about 5 to 10 minutes or so. And then really for the major crux of the call today, we will go through the software itself and I will showcase, how to go through a trial balance and highlighting some of the major functionalities that all of you will have access to. The team already mentioned myself, but I always like to focus on our founder, Gabriel Michaud. He's been in the industry for over 25 years. He's a serial entrepreneur and, to make matters better, he even worked for Acumatica for 5 years before creating the software Velixo, which I will showcase momentarily. So really what you will all see today is the software itself has been tailored to the Acumatica ecosystem. I always like to point out that, Jean, she said she's been using the software for 5 years. We've been around for just over 5 years at this point. And in a very short period of time, we've grown to over 1,000 Acumatica customers. You'll see from the map below, we are fairly scattered, but I believe we're in 27 countries right now. But for us, the largest markets by far are the US, followed by Australia, Southeast Asia, Europe, and then Canada, where we are located. Now, the history of Velixo really does go back 20 years, where Gabriel at the time, when he was, the first reseller partner for Acumatica in Canada, he had customers reach out to him and say, hey, we want to be able to manipulate our reports in the way we see fit. We don't want to have to export the data. And then by the time we export it, the data isn't live anymore. So Gabriel said, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's work within a framework that already exists. And, Excel just seemed like the perfect place because there are already over 1 billion users using this software. Fast forward to 5 years down the line, we've been able to create an additional and many functionalities that I will showcase momentarily that will allow you, hopefully, to save some time with your reporting needs. The first thing that will happen once we download Velixo, which will only take about 30 seconds to a minute or so, is that there's going to be a new ribbon in Excel called Acumatica now. Once you click on this ribbon, you will see a drop-down of additional functionalities that I will go through one by one. I also wanted to preface that we have created over 70 functions specifically for financials, project data, and more recently, generic inquiries. What this means is that now you'll not only be able to extract just financials and projects, any single data point that you have in Acumatica already through generic inquiries that have been created, you'll be able to bring that to life within Excel. All the data that you will all see today is in real time, and it is all refreshable at the click of a button. Now, if you wanted to take a look at the Acumatica marketplace after the call, please go ahead. We're very proud, to say number one, we are the #1 rated solution. We have 30 reviews showcasing, some issues customers may have had previously before working with our organization. So I think it's a good point just to understand, some of the hiccups that, we are able to help out with. Now, this is the second to last slide before we kick it off into the demo itself. And from my perspective, this is really a pillar of our business. You will all see, I hope so, that the software itself really is lightning quick. But on top of that, we wanted to make sure that anyone who needed access to the software will have access. So I'm happy to share that we have an unlimited user model. So if you're going to be 1, 5, even 100 employees who need access to Velixo for your day-to-day reporting needs, there's going to be no additional fee for that whatsoever. Lastly, and most importantly, is that we mirror the exact same permission rights that each individual has in Acumatica when they're trying to use Velixo. What that means is that, let's say someone from your team would not have access to the budget screen within Acumatica. They still would not be able to access any budget-related data points in Velixo. And here, this is just showcasing some of the organizations we work with right now. I wasn't able to include all the 1,000 customers and all the customers that are already working with us through the Client Business First Solutions team, but just wanted to give you a snapshot of some of the organizations who are using our product and who are happy with the service to date. I always like to hone in on Acumatica as they themselves have seen the value in our software. They actually purchase it for their own financial use. With that being said, let's get going into the demo itself. And this is where we are going to spend the most of the time today, walking through the software of Velixo. I'm going to start it off today with downloading Velixo, because this is going to be the exact same process that your team would go through once you're ready to start using the reporting software. We would send you a link, you would click on that link, and then all you would do is accept the terms, and then Velixo will start downloading. Once the download has been complete, we'll be able to get started on our first worksheet. I wanted to preface that our software works completely for any Windows PC, and we've recently launched the ability to use Velixo for Mac. There are a few functionalities like report distribution and write back that are not yet available on Mac, but those will be coming down the line. All right. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the screen already. I always like to emphasize the first tool that we spoke about is that Acumatica ribbon that has been installed. When you click on that, you will see a drop-down of functionalities such as refreshing your data, connecting Acumatica to Excel, drilling down to a specific transaction, sending out reports directly from Excel, pushing your data back to Acumatica, some additional functionalities that you'll see here, and then support on the right-hand side. The first thing we are going to do today is connect Acumatica to Excel for that live connectivity. So let's just click on the connection manager and we'll put our appropriate fields in now. What's great about Velixo is that we use the exact same credentials that each individual is using right now in Acumatica. So I think we all have enough usernames and passcodes as it is, and we wanted to make sure you don't have to remember another one. Another item to note is the connection name you see up top. I suggest keeping it as short as possible because you will be using this quite frequently as you're building your reports out. Secondly, you'll see the Remember Me icon right here. You can just click on that so you don't have to fill out this every single time. And then lastly, we do support Active Directory or single sign-on if your team works with a more secure login setup. All right, let's go ahead and connect to Acumatica. All right, there we go. So you'll see the cloud in green, which shows we are officially connected. And if anyone on the call today does have multiple tenants or multiple entities, you can simply add multiple connections and have them all working on one spreadsheet. If you have just multiple branches or you have multiple companies, you don't have to worry about that. That would predominantly be within one entity. All right. So I'm going to walk through a simple trial balance showing you really the foundation of Velixo. And then, like I mentioned, we'll go through a sample pack report where we'll be able to get a little bit more granular, and I'll showcase to all of you what is possible today. First thing we are going to look for, if you look at cell A8, is we'll be looking for our GL accounts. You can put them in manually one by one, but I think the reason everyone's on the call today was to really see how we can automate as much as possible for you. So if you take a look right up top, you'll see Insert Chart of Accounts. Simply click on that. You'll see your connection and click Insert. At that point, all of your accounts have populated in real time. If I double click on the cell, you'll see that this is one of those 70 dynamic functions that we've created. At any point in your report building now, you can, log out, log back in, click on the refresh all that you see right up top left, and then any accounts that have been added, removed, modified, automatically update in real time. Next, we're going to look for our account name. At this point, I'm going to type equals account name. Once you do so, we don't see it in my instance here because I'm working off two screens, but you'll see a drop-down of the specific commands required. First, it's going to ask us for our connection, which is demo. We'll take our account, but we want all of our accounts. So let's go ahead. And just like that, we have all of our accounts. I'm going to put a few additional filters here. Well, let's write financial period just for my own sanity. Great. So at this point, if we're going to be looking for our account ending balance, you can definitely go the same route I just went where you type equals account ending balance. But if your team does have familiarity with Excel, which I'm sure most people on the call here do, you'll see the insert function icon. Simply click on that. And the first thing you will all notice within the category section is that there have been seven new ones added: generic inquiries, projects, general ledger, audit, list function, and write back. I'm going to take general ledger, and you'll see all the function at your disposal, but we're just going to take account ending balance for now. At this point, all you're going to do is fill out the appropriate fields. You can see that I've done this a few times, but really you get the hang of it fairly quickly because your knowledge in Velixo is really based on your abilities with Excel. Before I click on OK, please note the icon that says help on this function. If you click on it, you're going to be redirected to our support page where we have an abundant amount of resources. So right now we were looking into the account ending balance function. First thing you will all see is that there's the syntax available. And if you scroll below, you'll see the parameters and description. but we go above and beyond. So you'll see some examples as well that you can utilize that will just, a little bit off the beaten path of what I'm showcasing today, but it gives you a better idea on other ways you can be utilizing these functions, and then any limitations below. So this was just for one function. I did mention we have 70 functions, and just like for the account ending balance, you'll see assistance for every single one of these functions. So whether it's financials, generic inquiries, or projects, we service everything here. And for those of you today who are using the project module or the construction edition, 46 of those 70 functions have been created for the project module itself. All right, so let's go ahead, let's click on OK. I'm gonna make this report look a bit better. There we go. So at this point, we have our actuals, we have the financial period, but let's just say we're looking for a different month. Just change the financial period. You'll see the values update in real time. But now let's say we wanted to compare 1 year versus the previous year. The same idea would apply where we would just change the financial period, and you'll see the values update once again in real time. But I know not all of us want to compare our actuals versus our actuals. Let's say we want to compare our actuals versus our budget. Simply change the ledger for the budget. And it's just based on how you've set it up within Acumatica. So if you have forecasts, we can extract everything that is in Acumatica. Let me scroll below just to show you that there are values in this scenario here. And I always like to mention that ribbon right up top. This is where you can use the additional functionality, such as hiding 0 rows, hiding 0 columns, as you're building your reports. Now to make this feel like a full trial balance, let's get the variance. And there we go. The last tool I will focus on before we pivot on over to the sample pack report that we will spend the majority of the time speaking today is, figuring out how we group specific accounts together, how we can group ranges, the use of wildcards. And this is going to be very helpful as you're starting to build your reports out. So the first example, let's take a look at, let's say we were looking for 10-100, 10-200, and then 10-300. All you will do is put a semicolon, copy the appropriate cells, et voila. The next example I'm going to share is using a range. So let's say we were looking for 10-100 all the way to 10-750, and the same idea applies. The last one is the use of wildcards. And this is best explained by an example. Let's say we're looking for any account with a leading 1. After that, we'll put 4 question marks. And then let's say we don't want 10-200. And then you'll see it update in real time. Now, like I mentioned, this was really the foundation of how Velixo started. So this was 5 years ago. Gabriel spent day and night creating a product that, real-time compatibility with Acumatica for solely the financials. I'm going to pivot on over now to a sample pack report that is available on our website. So if you all want to take a look right here, let's go into all the collections. You'll see example reports and tutorials. And when you click on that, you'll see some canned reports that you can utilize. I'm going to be going over the P&L trial balance now, but you'll see various reports that you can repurpose. All right, so let's go into our sample pack. And we are connected. Perfect. So at this point, you'll see below on the sheets that we have a P&L available, a trailing P&L, an income consolidator report, cash flow statement, and a few other reports that you can utilize. But let's stick on the P&L for this moment. We've even included our account mapping on the left-hand side. Now for this specific report, there are multiple branches. So if we wanted to switch, let's say, to Service West, you will see the report populate for Service West in a matter of seconds. But that's not the part of the exciting piece that I wanted to showcase now. One of the most highly utilized functionalities is right up top here, called Drill Down. What it allows you to do is click on any cell within any single one of your spreadsheets and go to the source transaction in really a number of clicks. So let's go ahead, click on Drill Down. A new sheet's going to open up momentarily where, number one, you'll be able to see all the transactions. You'll be able to see what ledger it's coming from, the sub-account, financial period, branch, and associated balances. I want to showcase how we are connected to Acumatica. So we're going to take this example right here, and we're simply going to click on View Transaction. Once we do that, you will all see we will be pushed directly into the Acumatica ecosystem where we'll be able to view the original invoice in a matter of clicks. All right, so let's just click on the attachment. And here we go. So we see one at the Hilton, we see 201.73. We have everything at our fingertips. With Velixo, you also have the ability to drill back. So let's say we wanted to see where exactly this invoice came from. You'll see travel here, but even easier, if you click on cell A15, it's going to show you exactly where the transaction came from. So just to recap, once again, drill down allows you to click on any cell within any one of your spreadsheets and go to the source transaction directly within Acumatica. The next functionality I'm going to showcase, and this is for all those customers who are sending out reports on a regular cadence, is that we have a report distribution functionality. If you click on the icon right here, this will be the template that you will see. I filled it out for today's presentation. If we look at the first column, you'll see, how do you want to send this report out to that intended recipient? Do you want to send to them in Excel, PDF, or if they're an external member who doesn't need to see any of the formulas, you have that ability to pick and choose how they will receive the report. Next, we're going to click on the file name. You'll see here, you'll have the ability to choose what the file name would be. And then you'll see the tab selection. That's just based on the below sheets that you see right here. If you leave it blank, it's just going to send out all the reports. If we switch on over to the folder path, this is, for instance, if you want to send your reports to an online medium like SharePoint, OneDrive. Just put the folder path right here, and it will automatically distribute. Intended recipients, and then let me scroll to the right-hand side. And from my perspective, this is the most exciting piece. Instead of putting the report as an attachment, you have that ability to put the report in the body of an email. You can even slice and dice these reports further where, let's say you have a member of your team who only wants to see the COGS, you can send them a report that will only showcase that. And then lastly here, you'll see sending the reports out by specific branch. This is just one filter I'm showcasing today. If you look at the top left, you'll see there are various other ones, and you can even create your own customized filter. When we're at the point where we want to distribute the report, all you'll do is click on Distribute All in the top left, and the reports will be sent out in real time. The reports, we're only sending about 7 reports out now, so it should be about 30 to 45 seconds. But if you're going to be sending out 30 or 40 reports, it might take a couple of minutes. Once the reports have completely sent out, I will showcase, what they look like from an end user's perspective. All right. It's working very hard at setting these reports out, but we should be there shortly. All right, perfect. So I'm going to go back into Outlook at this point. And just like that, we have all of our reports. So this is the first example, sending it in Excel. This is Bob. This isn't Bob Turner. But let's take a look at the first report. You'll see right here. So this is a consolidated P&L. You'll see we extract everything that is on the spreadsheet itself. So if you're using pie charts, tables, things that have no Velixo functions associated to it, Velixo doesn't care about that. We send what is ever on that spreadsheet. Now I'm going to switch on over to the next example. This is just showcasing the report being sent. In this scenario here, you'll see a specific branch, and you will also see that we have removed the budget. Next, you'll see a report being sent in the body of an email. And, from my perspective, this is the most aesthetically pleasing one. And then you have that flexibility, like I previously mentioned. So let's say you have a CFO who only wants to see the net sales. You can send them a report that's only showcasing that. All right, so that was the report distribution side of Velixo. I'm now going to transition into generic inquiries. And for those of you who have been using Acumatica for a number of years, I'm sure you're familiar with generic inquiries. For those of you who might be new to Acumatica, really generic inquiries allows you to, have access to any data point within the Acumatica ecosystem. You might have generic inquiries that have been pre-installed by Acumatica, or the client versus team may have helped create a customized GI for your team. All I'm going to do today is go into an example of a GI. And for our instance, it's going to be bills and adjustments. We will not touch anything on this screen here. We're just going to click on Edit Generic Inquiry on your top right, and we're just going to copy the title. Once we do so, let's go back into Excel, and let me zoom in just a little bit more. Let's type equals GI for generic inquiry. And then just like before, we're going to put in our connection. We're going to put in the inquiry title. And that's it. You'll see just in a matter of seconds, your entire live inquiry has been extracted from Acumatica. At this point, you can set parameters, filters as you see fit, and then once you log back in, just click refresh all, and you'll have the report that you're looking for. But I'm just going to do a quick example just to showcase the power. So let's say we're looking for vendor, status. Do we have currency? Perfect. We have currency. And what I'm going to do now is show you how you can put a filter into an inquiry. So let's say for vendor, we only wanted transit. And then for status, we only wanted open. I'm going to now create a filter, and then we're going to showcase how you put that into the inquiry. So at this point, I'll type equals GI filter. And just like before, we're putting our connection, we're putting our inquiry again, and then we're just taking the above filters that you see. All right, so we have created our filter. Just going to copy that filter. And now we're going to put it into our inquiry. And you'll see momentarily, we have the report that we're looking for. So if you want to, let's say, change this to closed. I don't know if we have anything there. Let's see. You're going to see it automatically updates. So just to emphasize again, generic inquiry really provides you with full range of being able to extract any single inquiry from Acumatica. Just make sure those import scenarios do exist within Acumatica so we know where to extract it from. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is pivot on over into the write back functionality of Velixo. Now, write back, I'll give you some background information. Write back predominantly, well, what it allows you to do, put it simply, is push your data back to Acumatica. We had a customer about a year and a half ago that reached out to us and said, hey, it's great that we can extract all of our data from Acumatica in real time, but we want to do the inverse. We want to be able to push our data back to Acumatica. So we slowly developed ways and formulas on, creating that ability for you to be able to do that. And I'm happy to share now that if you look up top of the ribbon, you'll see perform write back. Or right next to that, you're going to see the ability to write back journal transactions, write back your budgets, write back your project forecast, and generic write back. So this is being able to write back to any import scenario within Acumatica. There's no better way of giving you an example other than showcasing how to actually go through this. So we're going to take the budget screen that you'll see right here. And if any of you have utilized the budget module in Acumatica, you'll notice and you'll see our template is very similar to that one. Firstly, you'll see, revenue and expense account. In our scenario, there's 2 custom columns here. You'll see all the, I believe there's 13 periods, and it's being allocated evenly based on the prior year actuals. You can, if your team is more seasonal, you can allocate more towards, period 4, period 5. That's just using standard Excel functionalities. You can even use what if scenarios. Let's say you're looking for a margin of 45%. You can see what sales forecast would get you there. And, it really is a collaborative experience. So let's say, for instance, you wanted to make a comment for someone on your team to take a look at the report, and you'll have a few members working on a budget. Just type that, Marianne in my instance. Can you please take a look? And this is using standard Excel functionality. This isn't even using Velixo associated functionality. We're just able to benefit from being able to work within Excel. And then you'll be able to see, if you look at reviews, show comments, you'll have the trail right on your right-hand side. We can even modify our COGS. Let's say it's been increased by 35%. You'll see it's going to be allocated evenly. Once we're now at the point where we're ready to push our data back to Acumatica, all we're going to do is click on Perform Write Back. But you'll see in this scenario here, I've chosen to not release it right away. You do have that flexibility. Let's just click on Write Back now. So you'll see just like that, my budgets have been pushed back to Acumatica, where all we're going to have to do at this juncture is click on Budget Release. And this is where you'll just release your budget itself. Now this functionality, like I mentioned, it works for budgets. Same idea for journal transactions. You'll see the fields, the columns that will populate. And the newest one that you'll see here is generic write back. So this has only been around for, I'd say, 3 or 4 months now, but this allows you the ability to push back your data to any single import scenario within Acumatica. So you'll see, and I just want to make sure everyone's aware, you'll have to make sure those import scenarios already exist. And you'll see for my instance here, I'm working in my demo environment. So it's going to populate all the ones that I've created. So let's say, I'm looking at stock items. Let's click on that. Use generic write back worksheet. It's going to take all the columns that I've already created within Acumatica. As you're filling it out, if there's any errors, it's going to identify exactly what the error is. So that's just one example. As you'll see, it really is limitless. So vendors now, same idea will occur. So just showcasing the differences here. So the last tool I'm going to show today, and it's not really a tool, it's more of a support resource center for your team. You'll see up top here, support and feedback and Velixo official blog. We're not going to go there right now. I'm going to go into YouTube, funny enough, and we have our own channel that you'll see. We're going to be migrating everything over to our website in the next couple of weeks, but you'll see, 2 to 3 minutes, some 5-minute videos on how you can utilize Velixo in conjunction with Acumatica and Excel to a greater extent. So allocations, date-based reporting. You'll see various tools here that, will enable you to get the most out of Acumatica. And then lastly, I do want to showcase our support page. So let's just go to velixo.com. If you click on support on your top right, you'll see some videos here. So some of the items I've walked through today, such as downloading Velixo, can be found here as well. So I hope this presentation today was insightful for your team. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I wanted to thank everyone for allowing me to showcase our software Velixo to your entire team today.
That was a great job, Duffy, and thank you for jumping on. I know that I forgot to mention up front, if anybody does have questions, please, you can either type them, or if you're brave enough, unmute your little microphone and speak up. But there is one right here, Duffy. I don't know if you can see in the Q&A down at the bottom. Budget writebacks pertain to a financial year, but is it possible to perform multiple budget writebacks for a year? Example, 23 writeback now for 23 as of 11/30.
Yes, that's a possibility.
Okay. All right. See if we've got any more questions coming in. And if you're feeling too much on the spot, you can always reach out to anybody over at the Clients First team, or also reach Duffy directly over at Velixo. And is there one more?
I think I see Jean's hand up.
Hi, Jean.
Hi. I just wanted to mention that a lot of our clients have really used Velixo for the budgeting process, because Acumatica allows you to compare to 1 year, but with Velixo, you can compare trends, etc., with the Excel functions, and you can pull multiple years that you have, or the history of multiple years, and look at those trends and then create your budgets.
Another ringing endorsement from Jean. Very nice.
Oh, I could do a number more.
Well, we'll stop short of that.
Okay.
We might give everybody a bit of a lunch hour so they can try to wolf down a salad before it's time to get back to work. But Duffy, thank you for the insightful presentation and Jean's endorsements. And I appreciate everybody taking time to review and consider maybe adding Velixo to your Acumatica instance. We do value you all, and we're grateful for the time spent. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week.
Perfect. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.